42,000.
What about using program participants? Or center participants?
That works.
Cover the fact that one member could be participating in 3 different events on the same day.
Yeah, you want
Right.
to count
Oh,
both.
I don't like the word duplicate. I think it undermines things.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
Participants attending.
Yeah.
But we now have people that are coming, new faces that come just sit in the lobby to try to acclimate themselves a little bit. It's actually been very nice. And I thank Kelly the cop because she tried to warm the lobby up a little bit. And just seeing them spending time hanging out in there. But so again, those numbers aren't going to show. I still do wish we could get a door counter.
So these are program participants.
They're
Okay.
program numbers, but they're not, like, if someone, I consider Continental Breakfast one of the biggest programs to make people feel homey, gather, be social. If they're not checking in, their numbers don't count.
Colleen say center participants, if I center participants includes like going breakfast, right? It's not a program,
Right.
it's very good. Okay, right.
yeah.
Programs are attended by, would that include using myself for an example? I might come in the morning and have continental breakfast, and later on might attend the program at 10 o'clock. And then in the afternoon, I want to see the Conservatory of Music, for example, and so on. And I know there are some that come spend a lot of time during the day, and they're here tonight playing drum cue. So the space, the center, the services are available to so many more, I think, than 42,000 participants that come through the door. Yeah, somehow we have to come up, I think, with the wording that reflects the amount of activity that happens.
But I think participants does to it, I don't want to go into a lot of different explanations, just cut and dried. This is how many people we've had in 1 year, and it's grown, so.
Yeah,
Start showing out some money.
Better than exaggerate.
Right.
Not an
Right.
exact.
So it's 42,000 plus.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, great. Anything else, Aisha?
Just know if anyone has any questions, comments, wants, our doors are open. We're busy but we're having fun, and I love seeing the new faces. And my last comment will be, Jess, you don't give yourself enough credit about the amazing grant writing you're doing. So you lost one big whoop. You've gained how many others?
I don't know if I want to give those stats. I should.
Oh, you should be applauded. You are, it's not an easy job, and you're nailing it, and you do it willingly. So.
Well, goes both ways. Those are amazing numbers.
And I'd just like to add that what I hear from some of the new people who come to the center, and retirees and non-Needham residents as well, how impressed they are with the programs, with the offerings, and how superior they are to their own town's center. And I think that's a tribute to you, Aisha, to the time, to the staff.
We do. We have an incredible staff. We're very, very lucky. Yeah.
Makes this place such a big attraction. makes it what it is. I just want to pass that along, because it is noted, it's, your efforts
Thank
are
you, Ann.
appreciated, and it's great,
We have a fabulous team and it does take a village. All right, I'm out. Everybody have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, we missed them.
Bye.
Okay, do we have anything on transportation that we want to talk about? Any bands down, any new bands in the?
No new bands, needed at this time, and people, band is out of repair. And we're looking to hire some more drivers, we're just waiting to, post and get the job posted.
So how many drivers do we have now? What's on it? Do you remember? That's all right,
I
I'm
think
sorry.
5 maybe, am I
Something
right?
like that, yeah.
6,
6.
yeah. Trying to remember in my head.
So are we back to the capability of having later transport?
I would have to say, I would have to sit down and talk to Stefan. just to
Okay.
make sure.
Okay, I mean, to me,
I think once.
that
the
has to
other
be one of our
driver-
goals is to be able to stay open. You know, and have transportation for people who want to stay here till 3 or 4 o'clock, you know. Like this group that comes in at 5, you know,
Right, but that's the,
well, I know one that doesn't, but that's all right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, that's what we're hoping to sit down and talk about.
right. And like for the dinner bell that we do, you know, like I said, I'm happy to pick people up, but if we could get someone that could pick people up that could come and aren't coming because they don't have transportation or they don't like to drive in the dark or, you know, that kind of thing.
I think
So,
it's also, there's 2 components that we need to try to iron out. It's not even not having enough drivers, but the funding for drivers.
Right.
Because they can't go over the
I know,
19.5
I know.
hours, so we have to figure out, is there budget money to bring on, 2 more additional drivers and use those drivers for special transportation or transportation to events, and that's what we're gonna have to.
Yeah. I mean, the last dinner bill we had, was that December?
Yeah.
Okay, and the Exchange Club, served,
Mhm.
and it was close to 80 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's important, yeah, it is, and it's, you know, there's a lot of, and we had a, flautist.
Say the flu, which made it even.
It was nice, it really was, yeah, so it's such an important program, you know, at night for people to get out and not be by themselves. You know, for somebody like myself who eats dinner alone every night in front of the TV, it's nice to come once a month and see people.
Is there another one coming up in January?
So we're not gonna have one for January and February, we're gonna start back in April.
Mostly because of the weather.
Weather.
Yeah, you never know when it's gonna snow.
Yeah.
Right, it's hard to
Right.
plan, it's hard to plan and order food and then have a snowstorm and you're in big trouble, yeah.
So we have a backup, if that ever happened, we would donate it to the police and fire department, maybe even DPW if they're out. to-
Yeah, because last time with even 80 people there, we had a lot of food. So, great, okay.
But I provide an update, for the next board meeting after meeting with them on.
Okay. So I had gotten an email from Katie.
I was nervous for them calling.
It was so cool. You know, when we have a problem like the storm that we had where a lot of power was out across town. And, you know, what our policies are for, I know we were open. but I don't know how many people knew we were open. I don't know if that's, put out on the Needham website for people, so, I don't know what our protocol is for not, for storms, for loss of power or whatever, so.
So normally we, as the team, we, also put stuff in the daily highlights. We usually take direction from the town who then posts it on their website. For participants here, we do a robocall to let them know that we're closed, but I mean, sometimes if it closes in the middle of the day, then we try to provide transportation for those who need it, definitely to go back home. For power outages, there's a number that people can call, and you can put that on the town website, that number, and we've
If
also.
you don't have power,
You know,
especially when it's 3 days, you know, like you're thinking, oh, it'll be back on, and you're playing with your phone. And then all of a sudden it's dead, and everything else is dead. So I didn't know if you had some other things, like when they go to check on everyone the first days, the wires go out, they go to the neighbors. And they might say, okay, we got someone over 70 here, 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 and here. And then go back and go, oh, here's just the list. And, you know, I mean, I try to like, you know, if you can't get in touch with someone, go check on them.
Right.
But I didn't know if we had something as the, you know, Council on Aging, if we had something to make sure that, you know, there was some kind of thing we give out that says this is what you need to do. Or if the town had, if we have like an emergency kit for people where there's a blanket, there's a solar panel, that we could give them so that they can at least charge their phones or whatever. I didn't know if we had anything like that where we look into something like that. Because it just seems like we're getting, this is happening more and not less since they put the new power thing in, and I just want to make sure everyone's warm and safe, and,
Right.
and even going to the houses, because I know with my mom, like if she lost her power, she'd be stressing out about the food in the refrigerator. And that'd be like a stress.
I just eat it.
No, I know, but in 3 days, everything's gone. But if they feel like, well, someone else could use, you know, and so, if, somehow get it to someone who needs it, or we can whip something up with them, or oh, we'll make, you got a turkey, we'll cook the turkey for you, or whatever. I would do that, and, you know, hamburger, or make you some, you know, we'll spread it around, make some meatballs, whatever needs to be done, but I just didn't know what we had in place for those situations, because I don't think they're going away. I think they're gonna be more prevalent in these coming years than we got boomers coming in. We have people that are gonna be in a situation that.
I know in my neighborhood. Cause I'm one of the ones that check on that.
Outreach on an art.
Yeah, yeah.
On my side of the circle, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses that have elderly people. I mean, my neighbor's 91, you know, but I'm in touch with her on almost on a daily basis,
Yeah.
you know, and I think our neighbors like, I have a neighbor that plows my driveway. Okay, snow blows my driveway. He just had a hip replacement. He set up a whole group of my neighbors to come and do my driveway. Yeah, and we need them all to make sure that they did the good job, because he couldn't get the B team to come down. That's when the C team came down. Going, oh my God, his wife is out there shoveling my steps. It's embarrassing. It really is. But I think all the
You can send it to my
No,
house,
but they're
Colleen.
not mean, and that is the issue, is they're not like that. No one says hello on my neighborhood, because they're all the newer generation, and they go right into their driveway. They
yeah.
go right into their garage.
I know.
They don't say hello, they don't say anything. They couldn't tell you who your neighbors are.
Yeah.
Unless you have kids, but if you have kids and you know,
Yeah.
they're not waving to the neighbors, they don't do their lawns anymore, like we grew up, the dads all knew each other, because they all, hey, so-and-so's doing this, and I saw little Henry, my dad does his lawn, so he knows all the neighbors.
Right, yeah.
But
Mine, it's all landscape.
Yeah, but you're right about the younger people, because we have a young couple across the street and he's out snow blowing his driveway. He would never think
To do something else.
to do, oh, and do somebody else's. Yeah, which
It's
is
a
too bad.
different.
But I know it's a necessity that we as a council on aging have something in place,
Okay.
but we can't do everything for everybody.
I just didn't know if we like send out you know, in case of, we used to get the cards and stuff, but without the phone books and the da-da-da, I don't know if they get those things.
We have like brochures, we had got.
But if they don't come here, they're not gonna get it.
And
So
then the
I'm talking about like
emergency-
folks that, you know, are older, just don't get here.
Right.
You know,
So,
I just
well,
don't know.
again, a lot of it has to do with, you know, our electronics. So my first thought is, when I leave here, I've got a board meeting for the Needham Observer. And I could say, you know, look, every time we have a store, maybe we can put something out that these are the places that you can go. But once your power goes out and you don't have a cell phone or a cell phone dies, then you're in trouble, but.
Then you go to your neighbor and you say, oh.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
also just to have it on, like, I didn't see anything on Facebook on what to do. On the Needham, you know, mass, whatever.
Yeah.
Needham comment. I mean, I didn't see anything to do with if you have a senior neighbor, you know. I mean, I'm the one like, go check on them, make sure they're alive, make sure they're okay. 'Cause it was cold, it got down to 30 degrees, like, I've slept in 50 degrees and I'm fine, but like, older folks that aren't used to that,
Yeah.
I mean, that's cold
Part of
sitting
an
out there.
emergency plan.
Well, that's what I mean, I didn't know if the town had an emergency plan, that was my question.
There is a committee.
Yeah, there's definitely an emergency plan for the town,
And maybe-
absolutely.
But I just don't know what
Could
happened.
advocate for the
They're liable to have
Right.
them explain, you know,
Right,
and touch base with them and see
Yeah.
what their services and how they protect.
and how they, no, I didn't know, well, maybe they are going to the houses.
Katie, even that kit you mentioned, you know, a kit where you have, well, you're talking about a special blanket and
And a blanket, yeah.
all that kind of stuff, and you just have one in your house.
Mm.
And that includes all the telephone numbers, you have that downstairs.
Yeah, that's what we,
You have that.
we, put that out, and then the emergency preparedness management person under the health department did a presentation here, before.
They gave out those kits, like it was a kit for your car, wherever it had like aspirin, first aid, water, stuff like
Do they
that.
give you one of those like the blankets that you get out?
I think there was an emergency blanket in there, yeah, and they did a luncheon. Do what?
You've had those here?
Yeah, there's an emergency preparedness coordinator for the town and they've come and done lunch and learns for us.
Yeah.
And then our department has a,
So maybe they,
list.
and I just don't know, I didn't know.
And I think we are listed as of the place, you know, through the county, that we have a generator and we're always listed as a place to go. Right.
A number of years ago, when the tree had, they were now, the yearly exhibits, I recall one of them having a bed, not with all the contents in it, but I used that. I just got that for myself and my husband, each one had a blanket, piano,
Mhm.
a lot of things that could hide us when I for 2 or 3 days, and something that you could just.
Yeah, I remember I read it.
Right.
It might be on invitation.
Yeah,
Really, yeah.
but it's
Wasn't warm in bucket.
up to the,
Yeah.
the individual to, I mean, they can
Keep it up.
advise, they can say, you know, this is, I think it came to the card, these are things that you
Mhm.
should
Yep.
put in.
You should have.
Medication.
Okay,
was-
so zoning.
Try
Try
It was.
Try it.
fine.
I remember that. Yes.
But I'm sure some of the things still available. I wasn't aware of these new kids, the kids that are more recent. But, yeah, that's, you know, admirable, I'm not sure. if This is the proper organization to take on that.
No, but I didn't know if we had someone on that group or something, just.
we can ask, we can reach out to the emergency preparedness coordinator.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Find out if there's kids, like. if-
I remember they gave us, they were like gray and
Yeah,
little,
the
yeah, we
kids
can see if we have
are-
more, yeah.
That would even be a good service project for some of the organizations. I have seen the exchange from doing something like that, putting all these kids together and donating them. We know we have some more.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
definitely, put some ideas together. Sort it out.
There's just there.
To coordinate some of that stuff.
It's just like during COVID, we asked, did we put something in just check on your neighbor? So maybe. Right.
Mhm.
All set on that? So I'd like to, I don't know what happened. I printed out my minutes, I need a magnifying glass to see. Ridiculous. So, I'm assuming everybody has, since we didn't meet in December, we're doing the November, minutes, so if everybody has read them, may I have a motion to accept the, November minutes?
So
And I had just one tiny update that I was not present, so I know Faith will update the fact that I was not present for that meeting.
Okay, great. Not great that you weren't.
Very mindful. My name is, last name, mine is, and the M is capitalized. In denominator.
So also, Ann is no longer here from the advisory board. Ann is a full-fledged member representing the,
Housing authority.
I'm sorry,
Housing authority.
Yes.
Mhm.
Native Housing Authority. Since we haven't figured out what to do with the advisory board yet. And we really have to get together and, you know, decide whether we're going to expand that in some way or just. dissolve
Because
it.
I heard things that were happening, we hope happen, and I think that'd be a good thing for the advisory board to do. So let's.
if that's the nitty gritty, but I think the advisory board should be involved in.
Right, right. But
And
unfortunately,
policy.
for quite a while, the only thing that seemed to come up was the heating problem. So there has, and the door, which has been fixed.
So Colleen, would you like Ann Cosgrove listed as the board, on the board too, rather than separating out on the minutes?
No, because we haven't dissolved the advisory committee, so,
I
she's
just wanna
here
have
from
it
there at the
correct.
moment.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all right. All right, if there's no additions other than, what was mentioned. I think it was,
I made,
right, yes, and it was seconded, I believe, so all in favor? Any opposed?
I'll second it.
Okay.
No, sorry, they didn't,
And I will abstain since I wasn't here.
okey doke. Okay, one of the things that I'd like to talk about a little bit tonight, is all of the housing changes that we're facing and where we as a board should be, putting our thoughts or, writing letters in, you know, proving or supporting or whatever. And I think not only, all the stuff with the MBTA, but also now with the, Native Housing Authority and rebuilding Linden Street and Chambers Street. I think it's worth a discussion on what position we should take. There's pros and cons as far as the Linden Street project. I have not been to one of their meetings. I'm sorry. I should have, but I haven't. I don't know if you have at all in,
I've been to these meetings, but,
but
that's
that's,
not the, that's separate.
it's, yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure where I know there are architects involved, within the architects.
I know they've had a couple of meetings too.
And they encourage resident input. There's a lot of controversy on what the architects are proposing and what seems to be budgetary conscious,
And what fits in the, yeah.
and the big issue actually, is very difficult. And changing from the environment that we.
I mean, I can't- yeah.
But it's, I don't remember, it's, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, unfortunately, neither am I. I don't know if anybody else has been going to any of them. I think it's something that we probably
I
need
just
to,
don't know before that.
yeah, I think it's important that we keep up to date on what's happening there and that, if it's something that we should be supporting or not supporting, I can't imagine not supporting it. It creates housing,
So there's two different things that Dan was saying going on. There's that home group, which is that what that's.
but that's a different, that's
And
totally
that's looking
different,
at housing
Right.
generically all over town.
right?
And trying to get people to do like ADUs by right on their properties, that they can do. And to think positively about that. And then to look at other places where we can have development in town to provide multi-family housing. That's separate from the housing authority, which is,
Right.
that's not even actually a town agency.
Right,
State.
that's a state agency.
And I said, they're totally pretty much, they can pretty much do what they want to do. With certain guidelines. And their proposal, and something has to happen down there. Okay, because those buildings that are there at the end of their life. And
They have been. Yeah,
and they're getting to the point where they're being unsafe. So they have to do something. And the idea would be to build something similar to what's on Chambers Street, that type of building. Open up more land where the other development sits. And maybe obviously accommodate all the people that are already there, so expand a little bit, I think. But again, there's, money is a factor in that. That's gonna cost a lot of money. How they get the money,
right.
does the town?
The state.
Yeah, they do this, they do.
Yeah.
Right, in the state.
It's just that it seems that there's been opportunity for the town to make some purchases that we've lost for whatever reason, up by Charles River. All of those little houses that were up there that now,
Charles River. Charles River.
yeah, right.
That's
No, it's not a bad thing, but it's just, it's an example of some of the properties that, it's like,
This one, that's a town thing, again, maybe we like to put person. Maybe the town should buy or somehow have a use of the Avery property.
I've been pushing that one for a long time.
But, yeah, and so I think, that, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think there are parcels in, there are there is an opportunity for us to provide. But it's our governments, they have to take they have to say, yes, we've got to do it. No one is, the state, or no one else is saying you have to do this. They are saying you have to provide a certain percent of their, and we're at it, and it's a, but this is something that we want and we should, like Needham should be able to, yeah, but it's, not, what's this? Yeah. That's a perfect.
Right.
That
Right.
place is,
The Carter one.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm saying across the street from this.
Well, yeah, I know, that, yeah.
So there are other.
And that's still sitting there because the people that made the proposal, it was tabled and they haven't come back. And I've been, making sure I've been watching the planning board meetings to be sure that when they do come back, I'm there. But
And that just means the building's getting crappy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's gonna take more and more to get it into any kind of shape. For the next thing you know, they're gonna raise the whole
Yeah.
thing and start from scratch,
Right.
but. Again, our money's being spent in other directions, unfortunately. We've got a chunk that was, voted by town meeting for the, I just forgot the name of the group, not Fisher, by Rich Hill, the group by Rich Hill. We lost that. It is Foster, right, right. You know, it's Fisher.
Reg cost.
That's still not on
Didn't they resell?
No,
They
it's been sold.
Yeah,
It's
to a
been sold
developer.
to another entity,
And a developer for the whole parcel.
right, yeah.
Which
So
is another
it's
shame.
gone, and the money that was appropriated for that goes back into the town.
Great, perfect money to do Avery.
Exactly, it's like. We can find a spot for that money, for sure.
I'm sure everybody else has to.
I've also been going to the Needham Housing Coalition group, which is a private,
And that's not what we could.
no, it's a different one, yeah. Hone is the town one,
Oh,
this is a private group,
oh,
it's Needham Housing Coalition. Yeah, and they meet at the public library, well, you got interviewed by them.
yeah.
And yes. We did a great presentation on, right, yeah. But this is a group that's working with Chapa, I can't remember what Chapa stands for, but anyway. So that's another group of people who are looking to help with the housing situation in Needham, and so I've been going to their meetings. Anybody else that would like to go, they're at the library and they're usually once a month.
Now, what is there, like, housing as in more affordable housing for people, or is it? what
It's
kind of
to
housing?
just talk, it's to basically having a conversation with people, with Needham residents on the kinds of housing they're looking for, what our needs are, promoting anything that comes up that is, a possibility. It's just, they're doing a lot of research, they're talking to a lot of people that, other, groups. And they're working also around the MBTA movie.
Okay,
So they did a whole presentation on, they had brought in a map, so to speak, where the half-mile circle around all of the train stations and it's amazing what that doesn't cover.
it's not very big. I mean,
It
it's a
really
town.
isn't.
I mean, it really, there's not a lot of open space in those.
Well,
that area.
there isn't, but the other part of it is, it doesn't pick up, Wingate.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it's
And
more than half a
it's
mile.
more than a half a mile away, it doesn't pick up, you know,
Any of the high,
Right.
industrial park,
right,
even though they say it's walking distance, that's a
To
nice
what?
walk.
right.
Right?
Just click on there, so when she gets to the
Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to talk to everybody about what our responsibility would be around, what we should be doing or shouldn't be doing, as far as all of the housing that's going on, the planning that's going on in Needham. I think it's important for us to be aware of anything that's going to affect the elderly. Whether it's, you know, building like the Wingate apartments that are going up, where the nursing home was. Are they selling those yet? I don't believe so. I'm sure they have to go through.
Right.
We got nothing. Sitting empty.
Empty.
Yeah, wait to see what's gonna,
Well, we don't know what's going in there, you know, I mean, yeah.
They don't,
They-
they,
Yeah,
they
they're
said
just sitting on it right now. They're
it's
super
crazy.
where
Yeah.
things are going.
Huge empty space.
You know, but the new Wingate apartments, I mean, there'll be 72 apartments there and they're all for 65 or older. I mean, that's a help. But it's not anywhere near enough.
But then there's no place to go.
Well,
Yeah, it's all apartments.
So, you know. My aunt's down in Plymouth, at least. She
Yeah,
got
you didn't-
sick
you
and she
didn't-
can come back. to her
You didn't
nursing
want to go
home.
to the Wingate nursing home anyway.
No, I wouldn't stand up with that, but at least it was an offer.
Yeah,
I think when people moved in there.
yeah, that's not on the record.
I didn't know that.
Anyway,
That's really not gonna be.
no, it's a drop in the bucket, but something,
59, it's very high.
72.
You can not hear anything.
It's always been
You don't
72.
hear anything out there. I mean, you can't walk like across the street. Yeah.
I was at the planning board meeting when they presented it at 72. Really?
Maybe they figured some of the common spaces as. Common spaces.
I don't know. So
Others that I heard people too.
when did they give a public presentation?
I went to the first one in the video.
Interesting, they came down in the numbers for some reason.
They're waiting for 20 positive. And we have incentives for those first 20. So that they have raised capital to.
Wow.
Yeah, they make the promise and it's like
Yeah.
for 6 months.
Yeah.
For those poor people that do that.
Yeah, and,
So 69.
It's interesting. You know, I'm so sick and tired of plans being presented. Whether at town meeting or wherever the heck, and changes are being made and zoning is being changed, and then they come back and it's like, really?
That's not what we're through.
No. Many board meetings have been much earlier because they have getting now approvals to make, to repurpose that building.
Yeah, they're at, because they wanted to add a third story, so that was a biggie.
Yeah, but other things. That's, but I just, whether it's.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Right, it is, it's a
No.
drop in the bucket, so.
Price.
Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to bring it up. I think it's something that we have to be aware of what's going on. What we wanna support, what we don't, so. There's a home meeting on, the 18th, I think it is, Thursday, the 18th. At,
Powers Hall.
At Powers Hall, and then-
On Zoom. You have to
Right.
register.
right, and then there's this other group, the Housing Coalition, on Wednesday, January 31st. At the library and on Zoom.
Registration on Zoom.
Yes, it does. If you wanted to, if you want, well, either way, I think there's a Zoom thing that you can, you know, and there's also, I don't think it's on that piece of paper, but anyway. I can send it, cause I get their stuff, and so I can send it out to everybody. And there's also, if you're going to attend in person, you need to register, so they know how many are gonna be in the library. Sorry.
It's the thing you would go.
Right, right.
Linden Street, isn't that in the 0.5 miles?
It's in the Hub 25 miles, but because it's
That
state
will not
housing
stay.
authority property, it
That
doesn't.
doesn't count.
But there's plenty of land along Chestnut Street that can be developed. All of these side streets out there,
Yeah,
between Chestnut and the railroad tracks. It needs rethinking on that.
yeah, and the thing is, and I always brings to mind Bill Tadalby and his building apartments up over all of the stores in Needham.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, really, there's plenty of towns that do that. It stands to reason. It's but
Yep.
getting the owners of those buildings to do something like that, but.
I know they want to do it at, was it Fremont? Used to want, that is a tough turn because
Oh,
you're,
yeah, no.
there's no way to do that one.
Right, yeah,
But I heard there's a possible back entrance. Off of
That comes up Emerson or
Maple
something.
Street. Extension of Maple Street. There's a possibility you can go that way instead of.
Yeah, you
then
have to
all
go over
those
the train
people
track.
Screaming, yeah.
You'd have to go over the train track.
Yeah.
The train tracks on the side of the wall. No, like that would be fun. Right?
Yeah.
Couldn't go.
yeah, they'd have to put up another whole crossing thing and, yeah. Okay, Ed?
All right. Here we are in 2024, but just a couple of comments on the latter part of 2023. One, we had the Veterans Day event at the Memorial Park. Turned out a very good event. A lot of townsfolk were there, probably out of town folks as well. But the good part about it was that it's in the latter part of the year and the wind basically comes from the north. As we're standing there holding the flags, it's coming from the backside going forward, so the flags are blowing away from it. On the Memorial Day time period, the wind is coming from the opposite side, and you get the flags in the face. So that's a plus, but also the thing that helps out at that time is the Exchange Club's coffee and donuts at the gazebo. That's always a welcome thing to make sure that you get there earlier. And the other thing that took place was kind of amazing too. We found that at the VFW after the event at Memorial Park, we extend out, the VFW extends out an invitation for the collation at the post. And that took place. A lot of folks showed up. As a matter of fact, that was the first time that we actually at the post had to set up and roll out more tables. Because all the tables that were typically open, they're usually set up on the carpet and they're there, those were all taken. So they had to put some new ones out, open them up on the dance floor. So that was a good thing. It kind of indicated that a lot more people were out at the park that day. The other thing that was kind of interesting too, that took place at the Needham VFW, was in December, was our annual police senior dinner there for the seniors in the town. And another great event took place. Also, that one had some tables out on the dance floor as well. So because there a lot of people come to show up for that, but they know about that one in advance somewhat. But the interesting thing was about the whole works, a great meal, outstanding roast beef. But the big thing at the end, which was noticeable, after everything was all done, there was some balloons up on the dance floor close to the stage. I think that they were set up there for another event that was going to be taking place that day. But the police young lady there, I guess, got a hold of a couple of them, and it was kind of interesting. They tossed them into the crowd, and if you were there, you saw the so-called elderly people.
Right.
The attitude that was there, bouncing the flags around, they were getting up out of their chairs. And this was already after all the wine was consumed. So this was after the fact, they had a lot of energy still there.
Right.
So that was, that didn't take place the previous year, but it just happened maybe by coincidence that it took place that day. Which was good as well. One thing I will also mention, I've got one little thing here to read, that was from 2023. But one thing we've got up and coming next month is the annual day for the meeting at the VFW, which happens on the first Thursday of the month. And it's this year, again, it's a joint meeting with the Exchange Club. The Exchange Club hosts the event. We open up the meeting and then it just gets tabled. The Exchange Club takes over. Usually it's a great meal, a lot of attendance, but at the same time, that's the day that the Voice of Democracy, the VFW Voice of Democracy and Patriots Pen student winners receive their awards, their monetary awards, the citations from the Post as well as from the state. And usually either in the past, Representative Garlick was there. Most likely either she or Rebecca Rauch will be there to make their presentation from the state. So that's another good event to have at the beginning part of the year.
Now, can I just say, both Ann and I were there last year.
Yes.
With the Exchange Club.
Oh, yeah.
and Those kids are unbelievable.
Isn't it? When you hear,
They're-
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because they the winners read their
Yeah.
speeches. It was really incredible,
Yeah.
yeah.
They mentioned at our January meeting at the Post that they're encouraging to make sure that the students get to read, because the guys want to, participants there want to hear what they wrote, what they
Right.
write up.
Right.
And some of them, not only what they wrote, but the way they presented it and the way they were reading for somebody at that age.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing. We've had, well, there'd be three Voice of Democracy, 3 Patriots Pen winners, but there were still more submittals that were given, that we received this year. And some of them they sent out to the district, the VFW district in the state, to kind of spread it out. So they will get the awards, and one of them, forget the name of the young lady, she was, I think, a participant last year as well. Some of these are repeats, that's how good they are.
Yeah.
But she won last year, and this year, she won in the district, so she's gonna be at the state. So they'll be voting on them like they did last year, where Matt Ching's son won
yeah.
for the state and then
Yeah.
went to Washington. So that'll be another good event that'll take place, still winter time, but it's an inside event, which is good as well. The other thing that I wanted to pass along and read a little bit here, it's not very lengthy, but this here is from our state house, basically. It's from the office of Governor Maura Healey and Lieutenant Governor Kimberly Driscoll for immediate release. It was November 9th, 2023. And basically, it's a Healey Driscoll administration unveils historic legislative package for veterans in Massachusetts. Governor Maura Healey today filed legislation to increase benefits, modernize services, and promote inclusivity for Massachusetts veterans. An act honoring, empowering, and recognizing our service members and veterans. They call it the HERO Act. will have positive impacts for hundreds of thousands of veterans living in Massachusetts, including nearly 30,000 women veterans and thousands of LGBTQ veterans. The historic legislation marks the first time in 20 years that a Massachusetts governor has specifically introduced a comprehensive and expansive legislative package dedicated to the welfare of veterans. And they say 20 years, but we've had stuff here recently in the past few years that even Governor Baker was in and he passed, and it passed, but even this town is still way behind in approving and administering those things. Whereas other towns I mentioned before, far exceed us, and they're in the western part of the state, and we're as close as we are to the State House. So that's kind of sad. But anyway, just briefly, the HERO Act encompasses 17 spending, policy initiatives, tax credits, and statute changes organized into 3 categories. One category, there's 3 of them, but one of them has a few that are really good. It says one of them increases the disability veteran annuity. This one's been around for a number of years. To increase the annual annuity for veterans with 100% service-connected disability, surviving spouses, or Gold Star parents from $2,000 to $2,500. Also prevents the COLA cliff, ensuring that a cost of living adjustment in Social Security benefits will not affect the veteran's eligibility for Chapter 115 benefits in the middle of the state fiscal year. It also increases local flexibility for veterans' property tax exemptions, creates 2 separate local options. The first allows municipalities to double the veteran property tax exemption without doubling all other exemption clauses. The second ties the annual property tax abatement amount to inflation, allowing exempted property tax amounts to increase with inflation. And one last one here, eliminates the fee for specialty license plates for veterans. It waives the specialty license plate fees on specialty veteran license plates, and this one's kind of different, creates a new woman veterans license plate decal. I have no idea how they're going to do that, because the way it stands right now, it doesn't matter whether you're a male or female, you're a veteran, period. Okay, there is no distinction on the current plates. And I think that in some cases, I know we have friends that's a family lives in Needham. Their son was a veteran. He had TBIs, the traumatic brain injury. He's in the medical profession. He moved to Florida, but then recently he moved out to Oregon. And I had mentioned to them, well, geez, why don't, has her son checked with the registry of motor vehicles in that area to find out if he qualifies for a free veteran's license plate, or even a paying one, but a veteran's license plate. Right. And the comment that came back was kind of amazing. She says, oh no, she said, they do not look to put veterans license plates on the cars, because as soon as you have one, I guess they know, and the reputation is that your car gets keyed when somebody has a veteran's license plate. So it just goes to show you how things vary. I have no idea why in Oregon they're doing that, but I haven't heard anybody that does it here in Massachusetts. I mean, I happen to be lucky enough to have one of the free veterans license plates, similar to, matter of fact, exactly like our veteran service officer had. But I don't know what I'd do if I saw somebody key in my car as a result of that. But anyway, that's just a couple of the brief ones that they have. I don't know, typically in the political arena, it's very easy to put forth an awful lot of proposals. Okay, but getting them approved is one thing, and then getting them implemented in the different towns is another. Right. So only time will tell. We'll wait and see. I'm still waiting for some of the others to take place. Right. Even when we mentioned at our West Suburban Veterans District meeting last September, and every one of our town administrators from the 5 towns was there. Conveniently, there was supposed to be a meeting in December, again, every 3 months. The veteran service officer told me he was out of state at the time, but They didn't even make it a Zoom meeting. They just had some kind of a meeting, scheduled it instead of December, they made it November. Knew nothing about it because, I was looking to attend that meeting, just like I attended the September one.
Yeah.
And asked the question. I put forth comments, on benefits or things that the towns have implemented, we haven't here. I was gonna ask in, December, well, how are you making progress since September? But unfortunately, wasn't able to do that, so, the next one, usually they make them quarterly, so we'll see when the next one is, and, look forward to trying to attend that meeting anyway, so, thank you very much.
Okay,
Can I just ask them?
right on time.
Oh,
Yeah,
hi,
please, go
Hi,
ahead.
everybody.
Hi.
Ted,
Ted, could
Oh.
I just ask you something? This is about Bob Larson, they're having a memorial service. for-
February 3rd.
Who's running that? Who's organizing that?
We at the VFW knew nothing, the only thing that they knew was that there was gonna be no funeral, no ceremony. But somewhere along the line, they mentioned to the chaplain that there was gonna be some kind of a memorial,
right,
don't know when exactly.
it's February 3rd at 2:00. It's a-
I'll know more
February
Saturday.
3rd at 2
because I'm a
o'clock.
volunteer at the VFW.
Yeah.
So we have an event, we have a comedy night, Saturday night,
Right,
and we have to set up for that. So I'll talk to Stacy Kelly, who's the head person.
Get back. to me,
And I'll
because
let
they
you know,
exchange
because the Exchange Club, you have you have the quilt?
Great big quilt.
Yeah,
Right.
okay, great, yeah, and I hope you'll have some of the.
Right, do you have that?
Okay, great, okay,
Because at
great,
one time it was at the History Center.
because I'm wondering if we can like
Probably go back.
get,
Yeah, that's,
get on clips.
yeah.
So, okay, great, yeah, I'll let you know.
The concern is when it was announced at the Exchange Club, I think, that it was like, they expected 50 people.
That's unrealistic in so many ways.
It is, I mean,
I mean,
really,
I can see 500, like just going in and out,
Exactly.
in and out, in and out.
right, right,
I
I
mean,
agree, yeah,
I think that's more a little, I don't think his kids or whatever know
Yeah.
how loved he is,
right.
and so people don't know, maybe people are away, but still, I mean, he affects.
Yeah, it's
generations.
definitely going to be a
Gonna be
large
more
crowd
than
because somebody said maybe they should move it to town hall. But
Well,
it's
I
just,
don't know,
I think
it's
having
like-
it at the VFW is probably.
And it's free,
Yeah.
it's free to me.
Anyway, we've been trying to have Denise here for 2 months and we finally. So welcome and thank you for making the effort to be here at exactly the time you said you would be. That is really good.
Where do you want me to say?
Anywhere, yeah.
I thought that might be the witness stand.
Also, while we're waiting for these down, in Union Cemetery, we had Reason Across America came, so that was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And because, Exchange Club was there, and, again, the volunteers from DFW were there. And it was just a beautiful thing. We're hoping to get enough for all the veteran,
You know, it'd be nice
One
if there
next
could
year.
be a little bit more publicity.
there was no
and-
publicity at all.
And how you can donate so
Right,
that happens.
Right, so that's
Because-
what hopefully. we
Yeah,
can
I mean,
start
I donated, last year, I think it was, but I donated nationally because they didn't know how to.
know how to
do
get to the
locally.
need of it. Right,
Right.
right, so, yeah, I'm trying to get that set up so we can do that.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful and, and you can get all generations, it's not that, so
Yeah,
grandchildren.
right, right. Absolutely.
I think that would be enough. Let's do it.
So welcome Denise. Thank you for coming and joining us.
So happy New Year to everyone.
New Year.
So Colleen is of course right that we've been trying to kind of schedule this for about 2 months, but it's really just a visit. I want you to know, kind of post-COVID, I have been on a mission to meet in person with as many of the community groups that I see as leaders in our town, in this district that I represent, of Needham, Dover, and Medfield, just to rebuild those relationships. And I consider all of you one of the most critical of those groups. And so I wanted to make sure I was checking in other groups. I've brought a slide presentation, but because of the timing of this, we're bumping up to the representatives report. I don't want to duplicate efforts here. I guess there's a few things I wanna say and just open it up to questions. First thing I wanna say is the representatives report is going to be on February 12th. And that's in the evening and it's at Powers Hall. I wanted to volunteer through through the Health on Aging Board, that I would be happy to come here and do a presentation during the day as well. And people who have attended that before know Andy certainly has come and Colleen always promises, but is I report for a half an hour and then in an open forum, I take questions for half an hour. So I think it's all the more important that I'm as many venues as possible to do that because the questions change. And just for the record, the questions are never anything I'm prepared for, but that's different. The second thing I wanted to, before we open up to questions, I just wanted to reaffirm that you all are aware that for the estate tax, which matters a great deal to many, many older adults in the Commonwealth, that threshold was increased by the legislature from $1 million to $2 million before you start to pay taxes on that estate tax. It matters, I believe, because we have many older adults, particularly in our town, that may be very house rich, but that doesn't mean that they have a lot of cash flow. And so I'm thinking that that makes a difference in how they begin to plan and what it is that they want to leave for their heirs and how they get it back. The second thing was that the senior circuit breaker is fully funded in the budget. I am advocating for it through the governor's budget, but more importantly, we have more influence in advocating for it in the House budget. Last year, we increased that amount, and you know that amount is, that's older adults. And I'm always using the word older adults and not seniors, but so many things are labeled seniors, right? But that older adults can actually engage in a work program and work off a certain amount of time on their taxes. That amount was $1,200. That has been increased to $2,400. And just because we've got these good veteran advocates here, I continue to advocate very strongly to increase the annuity, which is when a disabled veteran dies, two things have to happen. One, we have to change the language in Massachusetts, which is consistent with the language of the national level. That says you're a disabled veteran and you die, you're eligible for this annuity. Presently in Massachusetts, it says you only get the annuity if you actually die of what made you disabled. So if you have a physical disability and you die of cardiac disease, Massachusetts say, I don't know about that. Right? And I know as a nurse, all these things are connected, right? The second thing is we're trying to increase the amount. And that was legislation, or the idea of that legislation, which is one of my favorite stories that we developed at the bar that we have to have right? So those were just the updates I wanted to bring to you, and wanted to make that offer to the senior center to do the representatives report in any way that's helpful to you. And I think I really just want to open this up and have a discussion about anything you might want to discuss.
Okay, anybody have any questions or comments they'd like to make for Denise while she's here? Yes, Ted.
I'd just like to make one. I know you mentioned the senior and veterans tax work-off program as being 1,200. I thought it was 1,500.
It was 1,200, it's been increased to 2,400.
Oh, 24, okay.
Yeah, we voted on that last.
Because I thought it was like 1,500. You have to work 15 hours at $100 an hour, and you got that. But the thing that they have not, they did it in a state and it got approved for veterans, but this town hasn't changed and incorporated it in the town yet. The paperwork for a veteran, if he volunteers for a town department, to be able to do that, but the paperwork for a regular senior is multi-page, and it involves all your assets and incomes, who's living in your house, all that kind of thing. For a veteran, that does not adhere, because I've even seen it I passed it along as a sample that I had from specifically towns in Western Mass that already have this. They have it available January 1 to implement in whatever the year it is. Whereas this town only has it for the seniors. No, and not for the seniors with the income and assets and all that. For the veterans, they don't have it in that direction. So it was mentioned when I attended a meeting in Weston last fall, and Kate Fitzpatrick was there along with the other 5 town administrators. We mentioned that, as well as the one about the tax exemption on the on your real estate tax. Can't think of the name of that particular item that's there. But the exemption is there, and veterans are exempt from it as long as you have a minimum 10% service-connected disability. Other towns already have that in place. Community Preservation Act, I'm sorry, that's the one. It exists again in the town for seniors, but it's a multi-page thing again that includes all of your income, assets, who's living in your house, what everybody is earning. For the veteran, according to the state, the page is, it's either 1 or 2 page form, needs to be filled out, where you're volunteering, the hours, it gets to be signed by your veteran service officer to confirm the fact that you are a veteran, and gets passed in, but it's only like a minimum 2 page thing. No income, no assets. So that hasn't been done here in this town either.
So the law is the law, right? What we need to check is if the law that was passed was a local option, and there's some reason Needham hasn't implemented it, and I can check on that.
Yeah, because it is in different towns, because like I said, I've even had the pieces of paper from the other towns as examples. That was passed, and our veterans, it was given to the veteran service officer, he passed it along to the town. When he met with them way back in March of 2023, which was the first meeting that they had with the 5 towns together, and he went through the entire package must be at least 3/8 of an inch thick of different items. And as it was mentioned to them, all 5 of them from all 5 towns knew nothing about.
Yeah. So I'm concerned about that, and our veterans agent should know about that, should be having meetings, should be able to discuss.
He does
it.
know it. He presented that. I gave him
But-
information. He
but-
presented it in March of last year.
Presenting it to the town administrators, the town managers.
That's where it was,
Right.
yes.
So they know now.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Right, so let's
yeah.
figure that
Yeah.
out. Let's figure that out.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So I know you were very instrumental in negotiating with the MBTA as far as this building and parking lot and everything else. And now we're still looking for that 1 row of parking spaces along Hillside Avenue. And I didn't know if there was anything that you were involved in that, or you could be involved in to help us move that along.
So if you are asking, I'll get involved. Nobody has asked me to be involved in that.
Okay,
And there was a variety of issues that I was involved with meetings in the town, the MBTA, but we haven't had a meeting like that with the MBTA in months. So if you're asking, we'll put it on the agenda and we'll make sure that meeting.
all right, so let me, talk to those that, because I know, Tim had asked me for a letter to go to to Needham, to Kate or the select board. And we were going that route, but it's kind of like stalled as far as I can see, and we're still, nowhere.
I was thinking about your meeting with the veterans agent, the
Yes.
town managers and administrators, and I thought, gee. Yeah, I wish I had been invited to that meeting, right? It's the same with this, right? If Kim is asking for something, it's good to put in a call, because then I call in those agencies, right? And it's not that I can make those things happen, right? But it's a message, there's another set of eyes. It's not just the Council on Aging Board that cares about this, it's actually,
Right,
so feel free, and so I've been the rep serving since 2011, really. But in the very beginning, Kate, who who I consider a friend and who I deeply respect, is our town manager. She used to have a sticky on her phone that said, should I call the meeting? But ask yourself that question when you're trying to do stuff, right? Anything that's connected to the state, call me. You know, I can make an extra call, I've always said that my magic power, right, my magic power isn't that I can get a million things done. It's that I can broker meetings where the people who are doing the hard work can get the things done. But getting people to the table is something the state rep can do, and I will do.
And I can attest to the fact that she'll even go to North Hampton and work on something that wasn't getting done there. And move it around so that it was accomplished, so, yeah, she's all time.
All willing to travel.
Right.
And I guess you might have questions about the budget in your mind. We're getting whipsawed all over the place with the news on what's happening in the state budget. I guess what I wanna do is put everybody on notice that January 24th is when the governor's budget will be released. And I am deeply worried about this budget. And for the issues that I care most about and work hardest on, related to health and human services, related to public health, related to individuals with disabilities, related to older adults, right? Those programs are in trouble now. The governor is saying they're going to be level funded. You level fund those programs, they're losing ground in an economy that has changed with inflation and with these other issues. So if, you know, I'd love to see you at the rep report. More importantly, if you see that budget and that budget isn't going to serve our council on aging or our older adults, I will come back and we will, I don't know how we'll change it in this economy, but I want you to know that it matters to me immensely, and we need to weigh in on this. We can't allow the agencies that deal with what may be our most vulnerable people, but oftentimes our more invisible people, to be honest.
Latanya,
I had a question for you today. I am hearing from a lot of our participants and seniors concern about the SHINE program funding. Has there been talk about it for next year? Are they anticipating budget cuts?
So I don't know, but I'll find out.
Okay.
So the chair of, you might remember at one point I was the chair of Elder Affairs, which, and I think it's why I use the word older adults. You know, they used to call me Madam Chair of Elder Affairs. I was like, you'd think I was, you know, running a brothel for us or something. You want to have an Elder Affair, call me. But I love that. The current chair is Tom Stanley, and he's the representative out of Waltham. I will give him a call, Latanya. But what's happening is, we just went through budget cuts. You may know this from the news. We just went through budget cuts. What primarily was cut was representatives' earmarks, right? So an earmark is how we got the money for the feasibility study for the kitchen, right? I think that was a very poor choice. Those earmarks aren't poor, right? They're a way that we can do something in the community that there isn't money in the town budget for, is needed, and people are advocating for it, but you know, it was gonna be hard to get that $50,000 in the town budget, but if we could get that money through the state, small money for the state, big impact, you know. They went, the governor, who I am a great supporter of, however, cut representatives' earmarks almost right across the board. And then moved money around a lot, right? So it was money that wasn't spent. She cut money that for a program that might have been a new program launching in March. Those programs aren't going to launch in March now. So she got $357,000 out of a budget that we're in right now, and I can't look at it without talking about public health, with a big hit to public health.
Sure.
money that public health was supposed to get, they didn't get, and then she's cut on top of the money that they were supposed to get when the legislature overrode her vetoes, right? I think what is really worrisome and why I want people to keep an eye on the budget, right? Like, we don't have to worry till January 24th. But Latanya, on January 25th, I'll know if that money's been cut for the SHINE program. But I think, is the SHINE program also some federal money?
Some federal money they do get.
Yeah, we braid that money, it's called braiding, so we take this piece from the state, then we match it for, it's actually the Fed, then the state matches it, then the feds, and it goes back and forth like that. But, even for the federal budget, I'm deeply concerned. Deeply concerned. With the tough times. Tough times.
I heard in the budget cuts that you made that $350 million package. That money was cut to Johnson's on AG.
I don't believe so. I don't believe
I
so.
thought I heard that on the news report sometimes.
And you can imagine, knowing I was coming here, I met with my chief of staff before I came over. And we were talking about the money that is beneficial from the tax reform. And we talked about the earmarks. I hope I'm not wrong. I don't believe so. But
I'm sure
if
you're
the
not.
council on, no, don't. But if the council on aging is held to the same level as last year, it is hurting the council.
But that's for next year's budget.
When she announces on January 24th, so that budget process, right? So she doesn't have all the power in this process. The governor's budget comes out on January 20th, right? And it gets sent to the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives looks at it, but it does not accept that budget to file. Do not, right? Then we go into our own budget negotiations, and we come out with a budget in the last week of April, the week after April's school vacation. And we send that budget, now it's been revised, right? We send that budget to the Senate. Who takes a look at it? Doesn't consider it vital, and then the Senate does their work, and usually it's done the week before Memorial Day with their budget. And then the big conference happens where everybody weighs in, the things that we've agreed on are done, the things we haven't agreed on get negotiated. It is very clear to me that we are looking at a very tough budget. We do revenue projections in the state, and we talk about how much money you think is gonna come in. During COVID, usually do them once a year. During COVID, we were doing multiple times. This year, we did it last December to begin to prepare for this year. We did it in December. We just did another. And we changed the revenue projection and we changed it down. So we're doing it every 6 weeks. And we changed that revenue projection down. But that's why we really have to stay on our game. We really have to follow these standards very carefully.
So Denise, you mentioned from here correctly, sort of the cuts. Are the cuts across the board, or are there more cuts that are going to happen to Asian? And where is the money? What's the priority?
So we're in a budget year, right? It starts on July 1 and goes to June 30th. So right now it's January 11th. Somebody's anniversary, but it's January 11th. And so we're midway through the cycle. The governor has made cuts now, midway to the cycle with the budget we have now.
Right. Across the board and sort
But
of.
it's not, it wasn't across the board.
Okay.
It was on the representatives and the
Yeah.
senators' earmarks. And then in her agency, she was moving money around, a lot, right? So money that the agencies thought they were gonna have, they not going to have.
And did that impact?
But they weren't
seniors?
cut, nobody's been laid off, that happened. But on January 24th, when she comes up with the new budget, that's gonna be when we see what's going to happen. And that'll be the fiscal year 25 budget, that will be from July 1 of this year to June 30th of next year. And that's when we're going to see. And it's not so much that we're going to see layoffs, it's gonna be that we're not gonna see work. We're not gonna see. And I will tell you, and I know many people that I represent. Were. Very favorable towards Charlie Baker. While Charlie Baker was the governor, the agencies really contracted. And part of it was COVID, part of it's the workforce, but it's also his belief in smaller government. So when people retired, he didn't fill this position. So that, in my opinion, right now, the agencies, the Department of Developmental Services, Department of Mental Health, Department of Public Health, you know, Mass Health, those things, they're not strong right now. Okay. And so the level of funding is not good, you know, so. You know. But nobody got a pay, you know, think budget cuts, think people need better, that.
I think that the services for seniors. If we start cutting programs, you know, we've had lots of conversations here, social isolation, food insecurity, transportation, housing. If we start whittling away at some of that funding, impacted.
And it's not even whittling away. If your gallon of milk costs $2 today.
Right.
And it costs $3 next week, but no one ever gives you more than $2.
Aren't we just? We're so glad you came.
Hey, you guys owe me. It's my anniversary. I'm sitting here with you guys, and Russ is in California.
Thank you.
Where's the champagne?
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Yeah, I'm celebrating my anniversary with you guys. So we're honored, but yeah,
I hope it's not a big one. But
it's not a big one, but it's getting close. I have to tell you, it's getting close. And I got all these wonderful messages from our children about our anniversary and, you know, what models this is of love and lasting marriage and blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, yes, thank you. I said, you do know I married him because he was the hottest kid in my high school class.
Well, I know he's the nicest, so that.
That's right.
He's a sweetie, yeah.
So, any other thoughts? So we're all gonna sit together, we're gonna pay attention to what's gonna happen, things that you're working on. If it says Massachusetts on it, give me a call and I'll send letters of support, I'll make these calls. You know, I think that our governor is really only in her first year, right? I mean, when you look at, this is her first year, this is her first big budget. She was left with agencies that weren't strong, with an economy that is whiplashing all over the place. And I think that her administration needs more information on what all these programs do, who these people are that are depending on them, who that, and I want to be part of that conversation.
Is she doing a good job? I think she's.
Yes, I believe she's doing a good job. I believe she's been done very bad. Very bad. You know, you can't look at this economy. We had 30 months of growth, right? Of revenue growth, 30 months, right? Every year, every month we make more money. Then the next month we come, we made more money than our last month. You know, the money was flowing everywhere. The feds were pouring money into Massachusetts after COVID, right? All of that looked great, right? She's been the governor for a year, right? We've had inflation, we've stood on the brink of this recession. Now she's got, you know, this budget that she can't make work even in this year that she had, because with her best efforts, the economy changed. It just changed. I think she's doing a very good job. I think we can also help her to do it. But it's gonna be a lot of work. And And I bet, Latanya, you're hearing that as well, right, to the Council on Aging directors, you know? But,
Okay, thank you, Denise.
You're
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will too.
Oh, February 12th.
Colleen,
Yes.
Colleen,
Okay, may I?
there was a question in the chat.
Oh, okay.
From Ross Donald about at the Needham Housing, the blood pressure clinic was canceled. And he wanted to know how can he restore it back. So I texted him back and I told him I'm not sure why it was canceled, but I'll follow up with the Needham Housing
Yeah,
tomorrow, and then I'll speak with Aisha to find out.
All right.
I did answer it.
may I have a motion to adjourn?
You next.
Thank you. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
I didn't even ask for discussion.
Hold on 1 second.
Thank you, everybody.
No, I was.
Of course you did.